Hey everyone, this is Hailey from Cartooniverse, and today I'm going to be talking about a show I had never had before on this channel, but I'm looking into doing so because I enjoy it and season 2 is right around the corner. And that is, of course, The Hollow, and we recently got a season 2 trailer, and I thought I would break it down, and additionally I was going to ask some questions I had about season 1's ending and whatnot, and some theories I had about it. So let's get started. As you may recall, if you watched the first season, at the end we learned that the whole thing was a game. Sure, the other characters kind of figured it out towards the end, but it turns out it was more or less a game show, which the ending had a lot of mixed reactions from viewers, myself included. Was not a real big fan of this ending, but it seems like season 2 may be retconning that. Or if not, it's going to explain why they are back animated again, because, as we saw, it was live action. They were avatars in a game, so to see them again like this means something went wrong. Maybe they never truly woke up, or they're just retconning the whole thing, and it's like, well, that actually didn't happen. They are still stuck in the game. The trailer gives us a tiny recap of what happened in season 1, and the first new scene we get is Adam waking up in his room. It's looking like this is meant to directly parallel the first scene in season 1, where Adam wakes up first and there's a white background, but it turns out here that it's just a white pillow in his room. So that's really interesting. And now I would like to break down the room a bit, because there is a lot going on here, and we can learn about Adam from this part. Probably the most important thing to note is the gigantic rainbow flag he has in his room, which basically confirms the theory that Adam may in fact be gay, which is something people had been discussing ever since the first season aired after his reaction to being kissed by Mira. And there were some other hints along the way that made people think maybe this character is gay. And seems to be the fact here, and that's pretty awesome since that's pretty rare for cartoons even still. I know that it happened in Voltron, kind of, sorta, and then it happened in Kipo, which you should all check out. But here it happens again, and this time with a, slightly older character, and seems like it might be exploring that a bit more. So that's really interesting. But besides that, there's a lot that we can learn about Adam as a character from his room. So first we can see that it's really messy. He has clothes and books and other stuff all over the floor, and a lot of books just on his shelf. And we can see that he is really interested in a lot of different subjects, it appears. He has a baseball bat and baseball. So as, he did choose strength to be his power-up, so super strength. So it would make sense that maybe since he likes sports that he, would pick something to do with strength, because in baseball, you want to make home runs. So you gotta hit the ball really hard. So that's just one of them. But also additionally with that, there are medals. So it's unclear whether these medals are for, in sports, or maybe they're for science, because you see there's some science motifs, he has a robot, a spaceship, a car, even a little atom, which I think is hilarious, on the left. His name Adam. So I wonder if he's also really into science as well. So maybe he got those, from a science fair or whatnot. And there's some other kind of looking plaques in his room. There's also a map, and he also has a laptop. So that is pretty much all I can see there. It's a pretty nice room, I'd say, overall. Lots of nice little details. Adam then wonders if he's still in the game, and you can see that he's staring at a mirror, so it's very likely that he's like, why the heck am I still an avatar? Why am I a cartoon? Why am I 2D and not, a living person, a real life detailed person? So I'm thinking that there's still people in, truly they are still regular human beings and they don't look like this perhaps still, but maybe the ending of season 1 wasn't truly what happened. And they're still in the game. I'm going to be skipping around in this trailer so things make more sense. We'll try and do this a little more chronologically as to how I think things will go. So then next up we have Adam talking to who I presume is his mother, who does not believe that the Hollow is anything, or, well, he's like, nobody's believing that the Hollow is a thing. They don't know that this is a game show or whatnot. We see the same thing happen with Mira and who I believe to be her father. He's like, you're home, and she's like, no, I'm not. So it seems like it's going to happen to all of the trio, and we see that they are living in the same cul-de-sac, it looks like, because we see Adam running out of the house, and it looks like Mira's at the blue house, which could be hers. So if all three of them live in the same cul-de-sac, then obviously it's a game, because in real life, I doubt that would happen, that all three of these contestants would live right next to each other, unless, of course, they happen to all be friends and knew each other beforehand. Although I cannot find an actual look at this clip, there was a clip of season 2 released earlier this month that had more details about a lot of what we see in the trailer. And there was this area, which is probably what we're looking at the beginning of the trailer, called the Fears area, where each of the characters, the main characters, will have to face their main fear. For Adam, it seems that as a kid he may have been bullied. You see that he's being chased by a couple of kids, which is like, you're a teenager, why are you running from them? But, if he's really afraid of this, then it'll definitely make him want to run. And, kids may bully anyone that is different, so that may have been the case with Adam, and so he's reliving that terrible moment of his life. We don't see mirrors, but apparently in the clip, she is afraid most of an old-fashioned creepy doll, which I don't blame her for that, but I really wonder how that's going to play out, if it's going to be possessed or something. And finally for Kai, we do see his in the trailer a bit. Apparently it has something to do with not wanting to fight people or just things in general, and I guess that manifests itself in the form of a chicken. As we can see here, and it also looks like there's a statue of Kai in the background, which is kind of weird and kind of funny at the same time. But also, he's facing his fear via chicken, so that's really interesting, and we can see the chicken also comes right out of a garage, which is not scary at all. But at least on Adam's part, it seems that Mira does save him, so that's good. But earlier, going back to Mira and her house, it seems that there is a little party or little barbecue going on, because we see some neighbors and they probably don't believe whatever she's trying to say about the Hollow either. Before I get into the sections with the haunted house, I wanted to point out that there is also a scene where we see Adam and Kai jumping into a portal, so it seems like maybe they're split from Mira, and that might keep happening where they're split up at different times in the season. Additionally, we see them jumping out of I don't know, I guess the water is just pouring out. I'm not 100% sure what you'd call that. Maybe not really a dam or a well or something. But they're jumping out of, I guess, maybe a sewer system, you might call it. So there are a few scenes I'm going to string together because of this red light at this haunted mansion, and other scenes that look like they could fit within this episode. Judging by their clothes, it's very possible that this little scene we get of skeletons in very nice clothes and a band, that this could also be in the mansion. We see here that Weirdy is back, of course, and so are the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And you'll see that War is a drummer, and if you look really but to the right, Skeleton's arm is kind of covering him, but Pestilence plays the trumpet. I'm also going to guess that probably we can't see them, but Death and Famine are there as well. And then going on from that, we see the main trio in these fabulous costumes, and I'm super excited to see them in it because Adam looks amazing, and so does Mira. And it looks like Kai might be wearing a sailor outfit, so he's always the odd one out there, isn't he? But anyways, at first I thought maybe this was a cruise ship, and it could still possibly be because of Kai's sailor outfit. But seeing them dressed up like this with the red light makes me think that this is possibly from the mansion that we saw. We see that this red light is in a room where, there's a whole bunch of, little doors or little containers with the keys on them. And it seems like, I don't know, some sort of reactor maybe? I don't really know exactly what this is supposed to be, but maybe the energy source of this mansion. So a lot of interesting horror / sci-fi we might be getting pretty early on in the season. But if that wasn't sci-fi, then the next scene definitely is. We got some spaceships shooting red lasers out, so that's really interesting. We also see green lasers later on, so maybe these are two sides fighting against each other, because like in Star Wars, you always had the red lasers against the green lasers, pew-pewing out there. So maybe something similar like that is going on throughout this episode. And, other characters show up, so this is really cool. Skeet seems to be with the gang in quite a few areas here, in the sci-fi area, in this puzzle area with this guy that looks kind of gives me kind of Bill Cipher vibes, or some other characters like that. I have a weird head, but a normal body. I know Bill Cipher didn't really have that, but kind of trickster vibes there. And finally, we also see him with this giant snail, which it looked like Mira was fighting, a little earlier in the trailer, perhaps. One of its long, I don't know what you call it, tentacles or whatever on this snail. Its ear stalks, perhaps. So it looks like Kai and most of them got slime there, but Kai got it the worst, of course, as usual. But in that same sci-fi looking area with all those smokestacks, we actually see a brand new team. That's really awesome. It looks like there's going to be 2 new teams this season. Maybe there'll be more kids than that, but so far we see 6 new kids. And here we got to look at our first 3, and they look really cool, and I can't wait to see what their powers are. We can also see Mira swimming away from looks like this kind of sea monster. We can also see her and Kai with Vanessa there. also kind of approaching it, so maybe she tries to lure it away and goes underwater, like, because she's the only one that can. So this show is definitely known for having a lot of monsters, and we got to see a snail already and a sea monster in season 2, but there's also going to be like this magma titan perhaps in this season as well. Then we get introduced to the second new team, which seems to have a lot of cool new powers. One guy seems to have lightning or storm powers of sorts, another guy can, grow really tall, and finally the girl on the team is able to do fire just like Kai can. And you can see in this scene right here, she is holding something interesting, which I have no idea what it is. Looks like it has some glowing liquid inside of it, but other than that, I'm really not sure of its use. So it looks like this girl definitely will have kind of a little bit of a rivalry between her and Kai, since they both have fire powers, which is going to be really interesting to see. But of course, it's always kind of sad that these other teams are really against our main team. They don't really, it's not really explained why too much. Maybe they know about the Hollow already, or maybe they're from another set of game, or if this is their first game and they're already hating on the main characters, that really sucks once more. In the next scene, it looks like both of the two original teams with Reeve and the rest of them, which we hadn't seen Reeve in the trailer yet, so it's good to know that he is still around. All of them are on this hill, and it looks like this kind of mushroomy forest. Really nice setting here. And there's a green explosion, which actually, since it seems like in the previous scene, one of the previous scenes where we saw one of the characters grow big, and they had that green vial thing, it looks like it might be exploding. I'm not sure for what purpose, but it definitely seems like since that was green and this explosion is green, it matches up. One of the final scenes may actually be from the first part of the trailer, where we get to see the suburbs where they all live, but there's some sort of lightning storm here, and I wonder if that has to do with the guy's powers that can have storm, or just something else from that area. It also seems like there's going to be an episode where the crew has to go on a train, and it seems like the two original teams will have to team up, because it seems like Mira's like, well, we got to work together, and that's a good thing that they're finally working together, because they didn't leave on the best terms in the last season. So I'm really glad to see this, and the train is looking interesting. I always like to see what they'll do on the train, if other teams show up, or why they need to work together. Are these two other teams ganging up on the original two? We'll just have to see. And in the final shot we get from the trailer, we see Weird Guy saying that he'll see them later. He hopes. Now that's really concerning, because never before has he been so, distressed, except at the end of season 1 when things were really going bad with the game. I still don't know why things were glitching out of the game. Obviously that probably has something to do why they're still in the game in season 2. Maybe he's explaining things to them. Maybe he's finally letting everything out. If there's any other details that, he should tell them, because, why are they still in the game? It seems like he does teleport them occasionally, as we see in the trailer as well. So it seems like he's trying to help out the best he can. But, why is this happening? Is this still part of the game? Or, are they supposed to have left? Or are they sucked back in? Or something else? So that pretty much wraps up everything I had to say about this trailer and, my analysis of it. There was quite a bit to talk about. This was obviously only a pretty short trailer, I believe at 1 minute and 30 seconds, but there was so much we could determine from it, and it looks like this season's going to be really interesting and exciting. I am so excited. I did not know how much I want to learn about these characters until, it seems like we're going to be learning about them, and I always love learning the past of characters and whatnot, so this is really exciting for me. And on that note, I would like to talk about some of the things that, I was confused about or wanted to talk about in general about season 1, because I've never talked about the show before. Besides the ending that had everyone really confused and like, what the heck? Well, for most people, not everyone. Besides that, I was wondering exactly how the powers work. It seems like obviously they'll be returning this season, but why exactly does it seem like most of the characters have 2 powers? Or the main characters, I should say. It seems like Kai and Mira both have a second set of abilities, besides the one they chose directly that we see in episode 10. So if you look closely, I see that all the options for the other powers that they have are present on, the selection screen. So, besides, being able to swim through water, it looks like, those have little wave signs, because that could be the water. And we also have an animal paw print, which also Mira is able to talk to animals. As for Kai, he's able to shoot fire, so there's a fire icon. But along with that, there's also a wrench, which means he's able to fix stuff and just good at that. So perhaps that came along with that. But it doesn't seem to be the case that they are able to choose 2. So my theory is that, maybe there is a secret hidden ability that they are given along with their chosen one that every single player gets. However, it doesn't look like Adam got it. A second one, at least we haven't seen one, to my knowledge. So I'm really curious about that. And we haven't seen the other characters display a secondary power as well. So I'm wondering what's up with Kai and Mira with that. So I'm wondering this time around how their actual memories from, real life will play into the story. We already see that it looks like they're going to have to face their fears in, one of the episodes of this season. But just how much will that come into play versus what they learned in the Hollow season 1? Because, there's a lot of things we didn't know about them, and that was kind of built upon because of they had no idea of anything, and their memory was basically gone in the first season. Also, the show is really sticking to this whole game show thing. I really wonder how, if we can get more details about it, like how did these three become partners and other things like that. We really had no idea. The game barely spent like 2 minutes on this whole thing, which is kind of the big revelation of the whole season that was building up to this point. So it's kind of disappointing we didn't learn about that. And in season 2, will we learn more, or will it just be about the glitches in the game? Also, I'm wondering what the heck was the game glitching in the first place? I noticed that, things got a lot worse after Kai and Vanessa hit the moon, but I think things were happening weird before that. So why was this happening? At first I thought maybe this was just, the game was just, it has a timer, a countdown to when things should be finished by. But since Weirdy was obviously concerned, maybe that wasn't the case, or maybe he was just playing along. But, I'm really not sure why that is. But then also it seemed like Vanessa kind of was a little possessed, or she had some weird thing in her eye, I think, if I recall. So yeah, I'm really wondering about that as well. But that pretty much wraps up everything I wanted to say about the trailer and other things about The Hollow. I did enjoy the first season, besides, I had mixed feelings about the ending, but overall it was a pretty good show, and I heard this season's going to be amazing, so I'm really excited and looking forward to it. Let me know what you guys thought, and if you have any other theories or, predictions about what we saw in the trailer, put that in the comments down below, and also, of course, subscribe if you are not. I may be talking about Hollow Season 2 once it releases, so make sure to hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when it comes out. Thank you so much for watching, and have an animated day.